So here's a question: is what do you want? What do you want?
I want to have the best possible healthy life, to be around for a long time for my kids, and to be debt-free, enjoy the rest of our lives from here, be able to see my grandchildren grow up. And
Whoa, grandchildren aren't here yet.
well, I'm on the way down.
Many years down the line.
I have
Vision.
to. I have to.
And preparation.
Preparation. A lot of other pieces.
What do you want?
Financial independence.
What does that mean?
That means I don't have to work for anybody else by myself.
Still pay all your bills
Pay my bills.
without having to go to work every
I
day.
have to go to work. Well, I enjoy my work when I do today, but I think if I have better control about what I can do with it, I can make more, make less. But that's up to me.
Nice.
Not dictated by corporate.
Nice. What do you want?
I want to be able to have as much free time as I can have to do whatever I want to do. And, you know, that, and same thing, take care of my bills, take care of everything I have to take care of, and then just, it's my time. Do what I want with it.
Okay.
Time freedom.
What does that mean?
That means being able to not have to go to work, not have to punch a clock, but to do what I want to write. That's what I want to do, and I want to help people get healthy and spread the word that we have choices, and that's what I want to do.
So I'm gonna use, can I use it as an example real fast? Because I'm gonna keep going around the room, but just real fast as I go through the rest of this training. Did y'all notice what happened? I said, what do you want? What was her first answer? Time freedom. Then I said, what does that mean? And then what was her answer? What does she really want?
Right.
She wants to write. She wants to be able to communicate to people through your ability to write. So this is interesting. What do you want?
Same thing as everybody else. I'm still new. So, you know, I'm used to five overtime, not getting paid for that. But I want to be financially comfortable, not have to worry and stress about debt.
Why do you want that?
To be financially comfortable,
Yeah.
stressful, worry about money.
Okay. Zach?
I want to be able to pick up whatever leave whatever I'm doing at the moment, buy a plane ticket one way, and go travel, stay wherever I want to go for however much time.
You just totally freaked your mom out, dude. She's like, you ain't leaving San Antonio, boy.
So we going with
He's like, Mom.
Where's my mom?
Yeah, Mom. I love you, Mom.
Like, what do I send your stuff?
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going with him. He's like, this is my wife. This isn't we. Yeah. What do you want?
I want to be able to set an example to people and at the same time be able to help them by doing and I guess raise them where I have been in life and then I want to get to explore more in the world myself.
Travel.
I want to learn more about everything possibly learn in life, so I need time for that.
Can I use an example real fast? Can I use this as an example? So you notice, you can tell she's already thought about this. And the reason why is because people that haven't gone through this process, when you say, what do you want? If their desire internally is to travel, they'll say, travel. I want to travel the world. But her true desire is not to travel. Her true desire is to go learn about the world. She wants to go see how cultures live, right? Go experience the walkways that people have walked in other parts of the world. The reason I'm bringing this up is because there's a lot of depth to what do you want, and it can't just be, I want to save the manatees. Why? What is it to you? Does that make sense? Brandon?
I want to be a generational paradigm shift.
Okay.
For my family, generational family. I want them to understand that it's possible to live a 12-month, a year vacation. And all needs are taken care of, so days are filled with wants, ways to serve, ways to do what you want, that want life. That's what I want.
Nice. That's a good one. What do you want?
and go wherever you wanna go, not punch in, sit down and write, I don't write, but, you know, just the little things. If I wanna work out in the middle of the day for 3 hours, not have to worry about, hey, am I gonna be late and is the boss gonna get mad because I'm late coming back into work? I can be okay.
That's the point.
But
So,
the short end is having money and health enough to enjoy whatever I want, for me and my family, my kids, my husband, my extended family, his parents, his sisters, and brother, everybody.
so just as you kept talking, you see how I got more detail? I just want a lot more money in the free time. Well, why is that? I mean, it became more detailed. The reason I'm asking you guys this is because this is in our business, because our business is not just a vitamin company. The business of USANA provides you an opportunity to have whatever it is that you want. Because the three things that hold most people back is time, money, and health. So if you want to do what you want to do, you need to fix your time problem, your money problem, and make sure your health is maintained. So the problem is you can work out all day long and take care of one of those categories, but if you're broke, will you ever be satisfied in doing what you want to do with your life? No, you won't. There'll always be something internally saying, I should be doing something else. So I want to get really clear with you guys is that this is a process that you have to work through. You have to take the time to do this. And I mean break it down in more detail, and more detail, and more detail, and more detail. I'll tell you, when I was just joining USANA, I was very similar. So I just want to get out of my job. If I could just have an extra $200 a month, woo, like my life would be amazing. Some of y'all feel that way right now. That's why I joined USANA. I was like, man, if I could literally make $200 extra a month, I could stop living on my credit cards. Because every month I was creative, man. I just bought this meal on the 3rd day of the month, and then bought this thing on the 15th day of the month. I mean, I can make my rent, pay my car bill, my insurance. I mean, the creativity of someone with no money is pretty impressive, right? We've all been there. So you have to know why you're doing this. And importantly, you gotta write it down. I've been training on this for years. And I'll tell you what's interesting is I sat in your chair for years on the receiving side of a presenter giving this information out. And I used to always hear this all the time. Write it down, stare it down. Every single day, write it down, stare it down. Like, you're right, I got that. Yep, write it down, stare it down. Woo, that sounds awesome. Next time I go to the event, write it down, stare it down. Brian, where's your deal? Oh, I got it. Write it down, stare it down. Ooh, yeah, that's right. You gotta write it down, stare it down. Years would go by. Write it down, stare it down. Brian, where's your goals? I got it. I'm on, man, I got this. Where are they? I got it. I know exactly what I want. But I wasn't getting what I wanted. And then the connection happened. Write it down, stare it down. And literally I was getting my door handle of my Chevy pickup changed out at the Chevy dealership on Blanco Road. And I was gonna have 3 hours to wait in between my job that I was going to because no one could come pick me up and nowhere to go. I had to go back to work after my truck handle was fixed. So I was like, I gotta go wait in the waiting room. So I pulled out this little notebook out of my truck door, and I was like, my little mileage log that I had, that I never filled out for my USANA business, but it was there. And all the intentions in the world to write out my mileage. So I pulled it out, I walked into the waiting room, and I sat down. I was like, you know what, I've never written my goals. I got 3 hours, I'm just gonna do it. I've never written down my movie script. I got 3 hours, I'm gonna do it. I've never written down my vision statement for my own life. I got 3 hours, I might as well just do it. I didn't know I had a passion for writing. I wouldn't call it a passion. I know Ruby's got a passion for it, but I found out in that moment I like to write. You wanna know what I like to write about? My future. And it was really cool. And I just started writing. And I don't know if it's just a disconnect people have, that it takes them away from the world, because you can literally write whatever you want. It's your life. Write it down. And I literally wrote like 18 pages. I mean, it wasn't like, it was like a little baby spiral notebook. You could fit the side door of your car, right? That day, my life changed. That day when I wrote my goals down, everything about what I was trying to aspire to transitioned from an idea to an actual goal. Now my friends said to me, and it did happen, Brian, what do you want? Instead of me just creating this, well, I just want, free time and a lot of money, it became, I'll show you what I want. Flip to page 3. That will change the relationships of the people that you have in your life. They're like, dude, you wrote down like what you want in life, like where you're going? Yeah. Because every single successful person I've listened to in my life says you gotta write it down, and I'm gonna do it. The ripple effect of doing the things that you're told in this business model that you can't even fathom will happen, the ripple effect is huge. And it's relevant. But if you don't do what you're told, the ripple effect never occurs. You never even throw the rock in the pond, even create the ripples. You're holding on to the rock going, oh yeah, this ripple would be huge if I just threw it. But you never do the action. Does that make sense? So write it down. So there was 12 minutes this morning on writing down your goals and writing down what you want. All right? It has to be emotional. It has to be for you. Some of you said, I want what everybody else said in this room. No, it's not what everybody else wants in this room. It has to be what you want in this room. That's the only way it's going to get you up every day. It's the only way it's going to get you communicating USANA, or even opening your mouth when someone's rubbing on their knee at church, or wherever you are. It's the only thing that's going to say, I'm nervous. Should I say anything? Like, how do I create a conversation with this person? They've got a knee problem, and I have a solution. What do I do? If it's not readily emotional about what you want, and that's how you're going to get what you want, it'll come and go. It'll never happen. But if it's readily emotional, that's going to change, and you're going to open your mouth and you're going to say something about it. It's got to be something way more powerful than money and success. Financial freedom is great, but that's not what your goal is. It's what financial freedom will give you. A great question I want you to write down if you're taking notes is this. When you go to write your goals down, after every sentence that you write down, you ask yourself, why? I want more money. Why? And as long as you continue to answer the question, why, you keep writing. I want more money. Why? Well, because I don't want to have to worry about my bills. Why? Because the stress it puts on me. Why is that important? Well, you know what? Because my kids are affected by that. Why is that important? Because I will do anything in my power to make sure my kids are raised in a world that they don't feel like they have the same stress that I do. Why? That's pretty much what it is. Now you found your why. Now you found why in the morning when you wake up and you read that statement, I will do anything in my power to make sure that my children are raised in a world where they don't experience the stress that I experience. I mean, can y'all feel that a little bit different than I want financial freedom? You get to that point, and then you read it every day you wake up before you leave your house. You walk into the world that tells you you can't have it. You see how you got to protect yourself a little bit? That's why you got to take your vitamins, protect your cells. You got to protect your brain from the world that tells you you're useless, or you're only worth 30 grand a year, or 60 grand a year. That's it. Can't have any more. No, there's plenty. Okay? Has to be personal to you, and you should be able to envision it anytime. At any moment, you should be able to think about it, and it should give you chills. Okay? And lastly, it should motivate the heck out of you. That's why it can't be what everybody else wants. It's got to motivate you so that when you're in the grocery store line and someone's like, their credit card doesn't go through for their groceries, maybe you don't have the money to pay for it either, but you get bold and say, you know what? The Lord's saying I'm going to swipe my card. And then you create a conversation, and you hear from this person like, oh, man, money's tight. Thank you for buying my groceries. And then you say to them, hey, listen, I was in the same situation that you were. I've been working a job, money's been tight, here's what I found. And I'm trying to work my way out of it. If I sent you some information, are you in a place in your life where you would be willing to at least look? Do you see how the moment, who in their right mind would say no? You follow me? That's how I gain prospects all the time. I look for opportunity where there's need, I provide a solution, and I say, can I help you not have that problem again? And it's a couple simple videos, I'll show them to you. Is there anybody that you know in your life that has need? Yeah. Can you provide solutions? Absolutely. Even, it doesn't have to be money, it can just be time. It can be a phone call, I'm worried about you, I'm caring about you. I hate that you're in this situation. I have something I might be able to help you with. If I sent it, would you be willing to listen? If not, no big deal. But I'll tell you, most people, if you're coming from a place of solving a need, most people never say no. This should have been your slide. This is like exactly what Zach said. Do you know where you're going? The vision part of this morning, can't tell you guys. Vision is important. It's very important. Because life will happen. Times will get tough. Money will get tight. Jobs will be lost. Kids will go to school. Life happens to everybody. And trust me, there's somebody in this room that's got it worse off than I got it. The question is during those times, do you know where you're going so that you keep that consistency? You think that Gina and Cindy and Zach just have like perfect lives? Nothing bad ever happens. You're right. That's the perspective, right? Or are they real too? Do they have problems? Do they have issues? But do you ever see their consistency waver? No. Because they know where they're going, and they know in order to get there, the hurdles and the speed bumps are exactly those. They're hurdles they just got to get over. The better they train, the faster they get over the hurdles, they get to the end result faster, right? So why is following the system so darn important? Why is doing the stuff that you guys learn all the time so darn important? Give me some feedback. Why is going to these events? Why is working out? Why is writing your goals down? Why is plugging into the things that this organization is doing on a weekly basis? Why are these things important?
It's the process.
It's the process. Why is it important?
Because you have to take the steps in the right direction, and you have to match with people that have the same mentality and the same type of drive to actually motivate yourself and keep you on track as well.
Yes.
To maintain that you don't get dragged out from the rest of the
There's
world.
power in numbers, right?
Plus, it's a process. It's something that's structured enough for you to follow and either expand on it if you want to, but at least it's not you go out there walking blind.
Having to create it on your own.
Right, trying to figure it out. You have people there to support. You have a process, and I work on logic and process. So
Does this make sense to
it
you?
makes sense to me. Right?
Yeah. So I'm assuming most of y'all have jobs, and if you don't, you understand the analogy. But when you go to work every day, can you walk into your boss and say, yeah, you know what? I get it's your thing here, but I only like doing like 50% of it. So I'm just gonna do the part that I like and not do the part that I don't like. And can you still pay me the same? Actually, I'm deep down, I want to raise. Is there any logic in that process? So what makes what we do in USANA any different? Is it different? If there's a process, and as you read more, learn more, attend more, and visually see more of what the process is, and you just hear it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Here's what's funny is because it's our own business, because you're an entrepreneur, I'm not your boss. I'm your teammate. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wake you up every morning and say, hey, I'm going to fire you if you don't set your alarm for 7:15 and be at work by 8 o'clock this morning. You're going to fire yourself by not doing the activities necessary that your boss typically would make you do. Does that make sense? Okay? So the system's important because it's the process that gets you what you want. And until you learn the process in this business, just like you learn the process in your job, you can't be successful and maintain a job if you don't do the process. Same reason why you can't be successful in this if you don't learn the process and don't apply the process. Does that make sense? So if you don't sow, you won't reap. This is proper duplication. If you don't do, let's say there's 10 steps to be successful. There's 7 skills in the Go program, right? If you learn really, 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 really well 4 of those 7 skills, and you apply 4 of the 7 skills, can you be successful? Moderately. If you learn how to find prospects, invite them, present, follow up, you can probably get some customers, maybe a couple people to join your team after a lot of work. But if you don't learn how to enroll those people properly, convert them to an associate PC, the right lingo to use, how to train those people to go duplicate the same process, and how to promote events properly, if you skip out on those last 3 things, you can be mildly successful. But do you ever think your team will be anywhere near the same success you are? If you do 4 of the 7 steps, what can you expect your people to probably do?
The same thing, duplicate.
The same
Or less.
Or less.
or less. I'll tell you right now, it's not just our business, it's the world in general, it's human beings. When you see a leader, very rarely do you see 20 people that are exactly like him. Right? When you see a leader, you'll see 20 people that are just right below who they are. And they're following that person. And then you'll see 100 people below those 20 people, just a little bit less than those people, following their leader, who are following their leader. You follow me? So the expectation you need to have for your own business is that if you want people to be successful, and you're only doing 70% of what's necessary, understand, your people will only do a fraction of what you do. Some will do 10%, some will do 90%, and everywhere in between. But they'll only do a fraction. Very rarely will you find somebody that will do 100% of what you do. But when you do find those, and they do show up, you're like, oh, Jesus, woo! You actually did it? Right? Those are your leaders in the room. Those are the people that I've gone through, the hundreds of people in my team. Some of them do, some of them don't, but then you find those leaders. Remember when I met Cindy, man, she was just like, she was die hard. She's calling me, she's like, she was an achiever. Her first week in the business made like $1,000. Nobody done that in my team before, ever. I think she probably made more than I did that week. I don't know. I was like, wow. What do I do now? Now I have to lead someone who is a natural leader. She's ready to grow and learn this. Because in order for her to continue, I had to push also. I had to strive for great. And you guys gotta do the exact same thing. And if you only do a fraction of the training, your people will only do a fraction of that part. So don't skip out. You gotta, how many of y'all have read the GoPro book? Be honest. And if you haven't, the question is just why? We've been echoing this repeatedly over and over and over and over for, I don't know, at least a year. Read GoPro, read GoPro, read GoPro. Learn these 7 skills. Study it. It's a workbook. Study it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm using this book like crazy. I use verbatim the words out of it. The entire system on illuminatedtruth.com is revolved around it. And there is a lot of success coming out of it. Period. And I'm seeing new associates joining going, I don't even know what the heck I'm doing, but I'm just like saying these words that I'm getting out of the book and my teacher's teaching me here, and it's working. People reviewing information. Because when you really learn the philosophy of GoPro, all it's basically teaching you is how to take you out of the equation and put information in place. That's it. And all you're doing is learning the verbiage to get people to look at information as opposed to you be the information. And when you really understand the philosophy, that's easy. When you understand what we're trying to do is to help you create avenues for your market to look at information. How do you get them to the information? And that's where you gotta learn the lingo. And here's your non-duplication. The question is, what kind of business do you want? My screen timed out. So the question is, what kind of duplication do you want? What kind of team do you want in your, what do you want it to look like? What is it?
The one on the left.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like someone's gonna go, oh, I like that one on the right.
Look, I want a championship
Right?
team.
You want a championship team. So check this out. So the great values of your business. This is something that from a financial standpoint, because for those of you that don't know, I went to school for finance and marketing. I was a banker at Wells Fargo. I learned a lot about the financial industry in the first couple years of my life just because I was taught it in classroom, right? This is something that I had to learn outside of school. Of all the financial education I went through, I learned this outside of school, okay? This comes from Rich Dad Poor Dad. The average employee is taught to go earn their income this way, right? You're gonna spend about how many hours per week working at your job? What is it? That's a joke, right? 50 hours? Yeah. Especially if you're on salary, you're gonna spend way more than that, okay? And how many hours, how many weeks a year are you gonna do that? If you got 2 weeks off for good behavior, you're gonna spend 50 weeks out of the year doing this. Understand this, this is math, and banks don't add commas to your paycheck. When I finally understood this, I changed everything about my attitude of how I was pursuing my business. Because it made no more logical sense. The years I spent to go to school, the degree that I got, and the time I was putting invested into a job made absolutely no sense anymore. And when you make that switch, it's become sickening to go to work. You're like, this is pointless. Because mathematically, it's pointless. I'm here to tell you it's pointless. Because math doesn't lie. So you're gonna spend how many hours a year doing this? 2,500 hours a year you're gonna spend trading your time to earn income. Do that for 40 years of your life, you're gonna spend 100,000 hours in your lifetime trying to make whatever this life of yours you wanna make work out. Right? Does anybody disagree with these numbers? Did I miss a comma anywhere? So do you see that after 40 years, that's it, 100,000 hours. Now give or take, you might work 70 hours, but bottom line is just a matter of dollar per hour and hours that you trade. Here's residual income. When this clicked for me, my life changed. If you could spend 10 hours a week, and every single one of you has easily 10 hours a week. You tell me that you don't, give me your schedule. I'll find easy 10 hours a week. Okay? But you have 100 team members. The only variable in this entire equation that you don't know is the 100 team members. How do I get that is the only variable that you can't figure out right now. That's the process. That's what everything that we try and teach you is in that line right there. How to get 100 team members to get involved in a system that somehow pays you money. Does that make sense? So all of the training is right into that line. Because here's what happens. If you have 100 team members spending 10 hours a week, how many hours are you now getting paid for? 1,000 hours in a week. 24 hours a day times 7 days a week is only 168 hours in a week. You just broke the biggest limitation that's on everybody in this world, which is time. You just broke the time barrier. This is what Bill Gates, Michael Dell, Sam Walton, Steve Jobs, what every uberly successful person in this world understands, is that if you limit your income to the amount of time in a day, you're always going to be limited on your income. Why? Because you're always limited on what? Your time. The moment you break the time barrier, your income now becomes unlimited. But as long as you're applying it towards a system that your income is based on your time, you're always going to be limited on both. USANA takes that limitation away and says you can become unlimited on your time, therefore unlimited on your income. Wow, your income can continue to go up year after year after year after year after for stuff you did years ago. 5 years could go by, your income will go up, you were on vacation. Why would you work 10 times harder at that process than you do at your job? See where the transition in my brain went? They say the same equal to common denominator 50 weeks out of the year. Check this out. You're gonna get paid on 50,000 hours a year. Friends, check this out. In 2 years, you'll accomplish the same amount of payable hours that you'll spend your entire life to accomplish. Take the next 38 years off. If it takes you 10 years to get there, is it worth it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Take the next 30 years off. And the other beauty about this is no one can fire you from it. You're investing into something that you own, right? 100,000 hours. Times 24 bucks an hour. You want to know how much you're going to make in your lifetime? Take 100,000 hours times your hourly wage. 25 bucks an hour, guess how much 25 bucks an hour is on a yearly income? About $50,000 a year. So give or take where you are, up or down, take 100,000 hours in your head, pull out your phone. Multiply it times your hourly wage. That's going to be your lifetime income. In this situation, what's your lifetime income? $2.5 million in your entire life. Who thinks it's a lot of money? Come on, be honest. $2.5 million? If I cut you a check today, you'd be like, that's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But what?
But we're talking about
40 years.
40 years.
40 years.
Yeah.
Now here's the other thing, is what do you do with that money?
Pay bills.
Live. Pay your rent, your mortgage, your car, your insurance, your kids, your food, bills, every college, whatever. Gas.
I don't see that cumulative sitting in my bank account.
Exactly. You're spending this money. And the whole idea of going to school, getting a job, and working that job for 40 years is out of your income. Hopefully there's enough left over when it's all done to what? Retire. You guys ready for something that's going to just kick you in the stomach? So this is a financial chart that I used to show people.
If you have to get up and look at it, you can.
Or retirement. So, just real quick, if I said today, for the rest of your life, you're done working, how much per month would you want to go live the life of your dreams? Per month?
Per month?
Yep.
10.
She goes,
Yeah, I was gonna say 5. I'm trying to be conservative.
Let's go 10.
But let's do 10.
I said 10. Okay, I don't know if it's because it's the biggest number on the chart. I don't know. Right? I had one guy say $1 million. I'm like, I like your thought process. That's interesting. All right, so check this out. To get to retirement means you, out of the $2.5 million, whatever's left over, you save, and hopefully you're able to live off of the interest, right? You can't spend the money that you save because eventually what happens to the money?
Yeah.
You go back to work. That's why you see, I mean, what's the average age bracket of the person welcoming you at Walmart?
It's like 70.
Do you think they planned on being there? No, the system wasn't what they thought it was. They were sold a lie. I'm telling you guys, this is absolute truth. I went to school for this stuff. So hopefully there's enough left over so that you can live on 10 grand a month. Now, if there's not, and you can't live on 10 grand a month, you got two options. What are they?
Die and go back to work.
Die or go back to work. You can go back to work, or you can just lower your expectations and your goals you have for your life. Well, that hot rod that I always wanted in my life, I guess I'll just never get it. That house on the hill I always wanted, I guess we'll just never have it. You know, to travel the world to go see how people live, I guess it's just never going to happen. I say hell no to that. You can have it. You can do it. It just takes the stuff every day to make sure that when that day comes, you're not going, I didn't plan it because I didn't know. It's kind of those things like once you know, it's like, dang it. Now I know, right? I tell my friends sometimes about Jesus. It's like, man, prior to really knowing who he was, you didn't have a whole lot of expectations on your life. But then once you find out, you're like, hey, this is kind of like there's some accountability here, right? It's like figure you guys out or what? Just gonna send Jesus. All right, so check this out. So 10 grand a month. 10 grand a month. How much money are you gonna have to save?
24 million.
$24 million in today's marketplace. I went to Bank of America the other day, asked the guy, I said, I'm gonna bring some investment stuff over here. I said, what kind of interest rate you got? He goes, that's what he did. And I said, well, do you have a chart or a formula? He goes, I'll get it to you, but it's nothing. 0.06%. That's pointless. Literally pointless. It's absolutely no point to it. So if you want to live on 10 grand a month, you need $24 million. How much did you make in your entire life if you made 50 grand a year? How much was it? 2.5 million was your entire life income. So after you live, there ain't nothing left. Guys, don't let this go away in one year after the other. This is absolute fact. The bank doesn't say when you're 65, oh, sorry, we didn't tell you. Here, I'll just give you a comma. How about the 2.5 million? If you saved every penny you've ever earned in your entire life and never ate a meal or paid a bill, it'd be worth $1,000 a month. You get paid 12 grand a year during retirement. If you saved every penny that you've ever earned, that's the emotion I want. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. Now here's what happens. People join USANA and they go, my business isn't growing, I'm not making any money. I'd be like $200 last month. And I'm like, $200 last month? You know what kind of money that is? That's residual income. That's different than working at a job. $200 a month, if you save it in the bank, is worth $500,000 of repeat residual interest payments. In your business, if you're making $200 a month, it's the equivalent to having $500,000 in savings. It's a different type of money. Read the books. Robert Kiyosaki says, if you understand this very valuable point, it's not linear income, it's residual. It's like owning an apartment complex that pays you $1,000 a month. You don't have to go to work for the apartment complex, that's your business. You go open another one. In our business, you go find another associate, find another customer, and 10 years later, you have thousands of them in your team. And it's generating a different type of business income. Am I making sense? Mm-hmm. So if you're making $100 a month, that's worth $250,000 in the bank. Now you're thinking like, all right, this little side business ain't so shabby. Okay? So lastly, here's this. I'm a math is just my gift. English, don't have me conjugate verbs. Don't even get it. I have no idea why it's even necessary. But math makes sense to me. If you work a job your entire life, most likely this is going to be your timeline. Your income most likely will go up over time, steadily, hopefully, and eventually you'll get capped. Either you'll hit the job max, or you'll hit the age max. I hate to say it, but that's what's going to happen. Your company's going to say, I just can't afford to pay you more. And if you ask for more, what's going to happen? They'll say you can leave, because we can hire someone half your age or half the price. Or you can stay with where you're at. That's your option. That's reality. And there's going to come a day where what's going to happen? You're going to decide, hopefully, maybe, you want to stop working. That's the ultimate goal. And if you didn't quite make enough, you'll never stop working. But what happens if you didn't plan properly to your income? What happens for most people? Social Security will not be around. Forget that it might not be around. It will not be around. It's already bankrupt. It's more than bankrupt. It owes the American population trillions of dollars. Okay? And it's not like there's a magical fund somewhere with a pot of gold underneath the rainbow somewhere that we're going to find that's going to automatically fund the 76 million baby boomers in the United States today. It's not going to happen. Here's residual income. It's going to start off way lower. Your job's going to start you off at 20, 30 grand a year in your 20s, and you're going to be like, wow, I'm wealthy. But what you don't realize is when you're going to be 50, 60 years old, you won't be. Because that's the timeline of that situation. In residual income in our business model, you start off low. It's not very flamboyant, it's not very cool. $200 a month, everyone's like, you make $200 a month in your business and you're still doing that. You gotta get tough skin and say, no, you just don't understand now what I understand. Because in 10 years, I'm gonna be the one laughing because you didn't listen to me. And it's gonna slowly, steadily start to grow as you stay consistent. And eventually all that repeat business that you have starts to compound. Just like compounding interest, but now you're compounding time. And it will get to a point where it will start to catapult. It will skyrocket. Just like you see on the screen. And your friends and family will go, how'd you just buy that boat? Like, what do you mean you're building a house? You guys took a vacation? You took the whole family with you? Like, how did you do that? Remember that side business I was telling you about? Yeah, right. That thing really working? Yes. And then those people that were the most biggest skeptics will come listen. But they won't do it until you're consistent, until you put the time and effort in to buy into the concept of what the money in this world states. Whereas if you work linear income your entire life, that's the expectation. But if you start to part-time apply towards residual income, I guarantee you your life will be drastically different inside the next 10 years. Cool? Some of you guys are looking like, wow. All right.
Youngest kid to ever do it. And I started doing it. People laughed. But I walked in and got a job before I graduated at UTSA. Got an offer at the University of Houston. I was like, I'm gonna coach college. I'm freaking 24 years old. Who else can say that? Let's go. But the dude sticks out his hand, all excited, and was like, we're gonna be married. Like, oh, you're just gonna be spending more time with me than anybody else. That didn't make it any less weird. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I'm here about 100 hours a week. If you want my job one day, you're gonna have to be here 105. I'll call you back. And I left. And I was really getting to understand that that wasn't me. Even doing what I loved wasn't good enough to trade my time with my family that I don't even have yet. But I could see the repeat of happening with my dad just working constantly at a job that doesn't pay him enough. Sure, I could have made millions doing what I was doing, but I'd never see my family. I just imagined being on TV, coaching a game, and my wife like having an affair with the personal trainer because I never see her, or something weird like that, you know? I didn't want that to happen.
That's a good one.
While watching the game, I'll watch you on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, I can't go out like that, bro.
You see that too?
No. And so I really switched and decided I'm gonna sacrifice what I love for the time being and make it my ministry one day, which I do now. I donate all my time to youth athletes and I coach for free. I purposely don't take a fee from that. USANA is that vehicle. And the vision has changed from when I just started finding that way to get a different life to actually seeing, I'm no longer at step one, I'm no longer at 0. I put the gas pedal down. I'm starting to see that end result. It's crazy. I can see exits near and exits coming. This many exits away. So my dreams coming true. And the biggest thing that I was buying into was be a product of the product. That's what they say, be a product of the product. And that was my thing for a long time. Be a product of the product. Take the product, learn the product, understand what it is, see how it changes people's lives, and that's what moves sales, that's what pays you. But, and I loved it because I created a niche that's a little different than most people. Well, it's the same, it's just a different field. But I'm gonna tell you right now, become a product of the culture of Team Illuminate and 5-Star Health. That's been my biggest change. And it's with the people in the room. Like, you cannot get Cindy to not listen to you. The best listener in the room. You have somebody that you can go to no matter what about life, family, faith, death, whatever, anything. And you can unload on her. I've got an accountability partner.
counselor.
Right, your own
That's
counselor.
written on my book.
All day long. I've got an accountability partner that if I call her up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I look, shut up, I don't want to hear your crap, I need you over here, and I guarantee you we're both going to get paid. Damn it. Okay, let's go. All the time, no matter what, she's there. She went to convention after one of the dearest members of the family died, showing that, like, if I don't have an excuse, you don't have an excuse. Get crap done. I've got that in my corner. I've got somebody that's right around my age who just went up to a gym. I remember we were driving up to Utah, and I was like, watch this, I'm about to get the whole goddamn gym to adopt USANA. It's gonna make $1 million. I'm gonna make $1 million. You're never gonna see my ass again. I was like, okay, Zach. And now we're sitting in that very gym that we were talking about 2 years ago. That's the type of people that I'm around that change me. Besides becoming the product of the product, I became the product of the people that I was around. This dude makes something stupid. I'm not gonna like blow him out like that, but he's got no reason in his bank account for him to ever pick up a phone for me and do something. But every time I've asked him, hey, let's go to Houston, let's go to Austin, let's go over here, I need your help. I said, sure. I'm at the very bottom of the totem pole in terms of pay scale compared to what he's doing. But we go to Bible study every Wednesday. And we grow that direction. And I can call somebody who's in the $1 Million Club to talk to somebody who he's never even met. That's irreplaceable. Try calling your boss and say, hey, I need you to do my job for a little bit. You're like, get your ass out of here, bro. Like, he's not gonna do that. So I became a product of the environment, of 5-Star Health and Team Illuminate, on top of becoming a product of the product. And the way that's changed my vision now is it's still the goal to make that certain dream, but I've just added on to it because of the people I've been around. My end result with USANA is I've broken into the professional athlete realm. And I want to be the person who single-handedly monopolizes the US track, the NFL, the NBA, and professional women's soccer. I want to be the person on stage when they ask, what did you do? I changed the way USANA does their game. I sponsored every single athlete that there was to be done. And through that, it's changed my family's life. I mean, I got my father who's been a subservient worker his entire life, reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. With a high school education, somebody who's just been told no his entire life, he makes no decisions, has no idea where to even put money. He's learning how to create his own business and is now taking steps to do that. I've got my mom trying to learn about investing when, the word tax would just, freak her out. People who are like completely out of the norm of what I see, just because of the changes that I've been around from these people that you get to talk to. I'm now influencing the very people who gave birth to me. It's weird for them to take advice from their son, but they're not adopting it as their own. And that's just a testament to, if I can reach them, I'm definitely doing something to my family and my friends around who are just, a little less close than blood. But that's really what it is, where the vision started and where it's going and how it's changed me along the way. It's been these people who are very real. So for those of y'all who are new, they're the real deal, pay attention. It's not fake. They're living and walking it. I'm just trying to run and catch up with them. That's it.
This morning for my first talk, what aha moments did you have? Give me some feedback. Just toss it out. What like was like, wow, that was huge. Anybody? Don't be shy.
I like the way that when you said, this is what I hear, you got written down. Yeah, I got it. And how you did it until you did, and then how that was a game changer for you.
Yeah.
And so I can totally relate to that.
What else?
That chart with your lifetime salary or what you're gonna make in a lifetime, that's just blows you away. Because like you said, numbers a lot,
Yep.
right? Do the math. It's just simple math. Any kid can do it and look at it,
Right.
and say, you know what, you're right. And so that's making me think more and more about it. And I really want my kids. I mean, they're already teenagers, but it's never too late to get them started on the right track and not be a slave to their job, but to want to have a career, something that they look forward to doing and not have to do.
Yep. Nice. Anybody else? Okay, so the whole purpose this morning is this. I want you guys to have ammunition. That's what you need. You need ammunition. Because sometimes when you're talking to a family member or a friend, or you want to talk to somebody introducing you to USANA, there's some nerves and some fear there, right? Where do nerves and fears and resistance to act upon something, where does that come from? What's going on in your head? Why do people not do something that they know they should?
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure? Yep.
Rejection.
Rejection?
Bothering people.
Bothering people? What's the cause of those potential results?
Ego.
Huh?
Ego.
Ego, which means what?
Maybe that you don't deserve it. Or that
You don't deserve it, but where the fear comes from,
Lack of knowledge.
lack of understanding. It's because you don't know how to answer a question. Well, what if they say those don't work? Or what if they say my vitamins are better? Or what if they say, I don't know who you're listening to, but that's not true. I don't know what to say. So I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I know that I can either be embarrassed, my ego's going to be hurt, or my friend or family member is going to tell me that they're right and I'm wrong. What's the greatest thing that we live daily to resist? What's the one thing we don't want in our life? What's the biggest motivator? Pain. Avoid pain. It's the biggest human motivator, is the avoiding of pain. So you're not going to purposely put yourself in a situation that's going to cause pain. So how can you change that? If you want to grow your USANA business, and you have a fear of talking to somebody or bringing it up or making a goal for the week, how can you change that fear into more of a confidence of, I'm still scared, but now I know that I can? How do you,
Just do it.
Just do it. That's one way of learning. Because what you're really doing is you're learning through trial and error. And if you're still doing the same thing you've been doing for 2 years, you haven't grown, you're in trouble. Trial and error is one of the greatest gifts, right? The school of hard knocks. You'll figure it out and you'll grow from it. What's a way you can shorten that gap?
Come to events and learn from your leaders.
Yeah. What are some other ways?
Invest in yourself by using the tools provided for you, because it's a proven success formula and people are wanting to help.
What are some of those tools?
Oh my God, Cindy, you, these new people,
People?
Newsletters, people reading,
Books.
DVDs.
So are there plenty of avenues to get information,
Yes.
right? And is watching a CD one time gonna make you retain it all?
No, repetition is the mother of skill.
Yes.
And you have to internalize it, because the more you know your craft, the more confident you are, and you can feel, I'm doing something good for you, I'm feeling good about it. People will feel that vibe, and they'll come to you for more, like, I want that.
I can see she said that before in
Yeah.
her life somewhere. Teachers, listen to me. This is what you have to understand. I can see you've got it in you. Does that make sense? And the more that you build that confidence level, and it comes from attending events, plugging into webinars. Listen, I don't tell people to go to events because it makes me feel good that there's plenty of people in the room. Because I can pay people to show up into an event and make myself feel good. Does that make sense? It's not about that. We do events so that we can pass on information to you, and you hear it 100 times and go, like me, after years of hearing, write it down, stare it down, write it down, stare it down. Thank goodness my mentors didn't give up on pounding that into my head and putting on events at the expense of them. I was showing up for like $10 every event, never had to do anything, just showed up. At the expense of them, their time, their effort, their planning, their preparation. They continued to get that information into my brain, and one day it clicked, thank goodness, because it changed my life. So it's up to you and how long you're going to take to get prepared, right? They say the marketplace pays for value. You think about the world today, how you generate income in this world of providing value. Would you guys agree with that statement?
Yep.
What's worth more money, a Honda or a Ferrari? Why? It has more value. It's a higher quality machine. It's more valuable, right? What's better, Gold's Gym or Krav Maga? There's a trick question. I want to see if anyone was going to say that.
SCW Crocodile.
Yeah. So why? Honestly, why? I've toured the facilities. You don't go next door and see this. Oh, there's no trainers in here from Gold's Gym. But am I right?
Yep.
You don't see the intensity and the application. I just walked through a makeshift airplane next door. That's training skills for, I told Zach, I was like, dude, this is, I actually got a little, like, eerie, like, chills as I was watching the airplane. I was like, dude, this is reality. This is training you for reality. You don't go to Gold's Gym and get training for reality. If anything, is you pick things up, you put things down next door, right? That's reality. So why is it more valuable? Because it offers you way more things. Now y'all thought it was really funny, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. But here's my point. The marketplace pays for value. Customers will buy product from you, associates will join you if you're more valuable. How do you improve your value? By improving your skill. Who gets paid more money? A brain surgeon or a general surgeon?
Or brain surgery.
Why?
Because it's specialized.
It's specialized skill. And here's what's crazy. General surgeon has to know the entire body. You break your toe, you gotta know how to sew up a toe. You hurt your elbow, you gotta fix an elbow. Brain surgeons learn one thing and one thing only. They learn the rest of the body first, but then they go specialize. And for the rest of their life, guess what they do? One thing. Operate on the brain over and over and over and over and over. How boring. Same brain all the time. But they're paid way more than a general surgeon who probably has to know way more and apply it way more every day. Why? Specialized skill. And the marketplace pays for value and determines your value as your skill set. The cool thing about USANA is once you learn the skills, guess what you do? Over and over and over. It's the same brain. You just learn the brain and study it. And once you master it, you just you continue to repeat, and your income goes up. So learn the skill. Okay? So as I transition, just to give you guys a little, I was supposed to close out with this one. So in 2006, just to give you an idea, Jack and I, our first years, we started building USANA. 2005. Her income when she enrolled in the business was $14,000 for the entire year. 14 grand for the entire year. That's more than $1,000 a month. That's worth $500,000 in a bank account at 5%, 0.5% interest, what the market will give you today. I'll tell you right now, I wasn't happy with that. I didn't understand the value of that money. I do now. But that money changed me. It changed my whole life. It changed how I lived. It changed my debt, but it also changed my perspective. The income on the right, that's 4 weeks last year. 4 weeks. Whether I get out of bed or not, that money goes in my bank account every month. That was last year. Here's what's great. There's no cap on my income. There's no cap on your income. You want to make more money? Just go apply more. Go train more. Go speak more. Go open your mouth to another person. Get another person on board. Sell another product. You just keep going. And your income will continue to go up, right? If you truly understand residual income, you would walk through a brick wall to get it. There are some of you in this room that get it, and you are walking through brick walls every day. Some of you in this room are learning it, and you got a brick wall in front of you. And the question becomes, how do I get through it? And the best thing to tell you is you got to develop your skill. Okay? All right. So first things first. Are you serious? You know, and I got to preface this because I know there's a lot of people that join our teams that join this simply for part-time income. And I know I can come across sometimes as intense because I didn't join this for part-time income. I didn't join this just to make my job, my income from my job, a little bit easier for me to be okay with. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I joined this to quit my job, to make my wife quit her job, to not allow my kids to go to school because they understand the value of money, to be able to travel, to really go do the things that we want to do because nobody else can tell us. That's why I joined USANA. I didn't learn that until years later. But that's why, what boiled up in me, that's what I wanted. And I'm serious about my business. So some of you are in this very part-time, and that's cool. Don't let my personality scare the crap out of you, okay? Part-time is awesome. I love people that do this part-time. And the reason why is because sometimes it takes starting part-time to build that little fire, add some fuel to it, get that fire a little bit bigger, and then the bonfire occurs 5 years later. Okay? Most people start that way. But if you're already past that point in your business, and you're like, I'm ready to get serious, and you can be brand new and already be ready to get serious. There's nothing wrong with where you are in the timeline. So a couple questions. Are you taking your products every day? I'm gonna be honest.
2 days.
You just got
What 2 days? We just
back 1,000%, baby. I'll be honest. There are days I forget. There's days multiplied in a row that I forget. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I left the house again, and I didn't take my supplements this morning. I can rarely ever go a day without drinking a shake in the morning because my kids only drink shakes in the morning. They love them. I have a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. That's all they do is drink shakes for breakfast. And they think it's cool. They go tell their friends at school, we had a chocolate shake for breakfast, right? They prospect all the time. It's college. So my wife and I have shakes with them. So every morning we are a Nutrimilk fanatic family. You come look at our pantry, it's like, you think we have we're hosting an inventory to supply the gym here, because we just go through shakes so fast. But when it comes to your supplements, do you take them every day? And if you miss, are you mad about it? Does it bug you? And if not, here's why. Because you don't understand what the supplements are doing in your body. When it comes to the skill set of understanding how supplements work, and specifically the high-powered cellular nutrition of USANA, how it's manufactured, why it's compressed the way it is, the ingredients and elements that they use, why USANA does that, what it actually does to your body, the slow time release, all these variables, how the product sometimes, some of them dissolve in different areas of your gut, the whole 9 yards. It's because you just don't understand the whole process. So in the beginning, sometimes you gotta put trust in the fact that there are some really, really smart scientists in USANA that understand this stuff and develop a higher quality product than anything else in the market. But take them every day. Okay? When it comes to shampoo and conditioner, ladies, men, how many of y'all use cleanser this morning?
Yes.
How many of you use toner? How many of y'all use your eye nourishment, your daytime cream? I did.
I do. Yep.
I love it. Come smell my face. Smell my face, you smell it. I still feel it. That's just
Not
me.
a way to prosper.
Huh?
That's not part of the process.
Hey, when you know I'm 65, you know I'm 65 years old, it is. But I mean, seriously, I'm 37. I have a lot of my buddies I grew up with through high school, through college. These guys got massive crow's feet. They got bad wrinkles. And I'm looking at them going, it's not that drastic yet, but I can start to see the deviation. And I tell my guys all the time, you gotta preserve the sexy, dude. Your wife takes care of her skin, and if you don't, you're gonna be 60 years old looking 80, she's still looking 40. And you got problems. You're gonna be the coach of the football field with your wife on your bench. Right? So take your products. If I come to your house and there's Perk Plus in your guest bathroom shower, I'm gonna be like, you don't get it. You don't get it. Do you think Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, ever set foot in a Target for the purpose of buying something? Do you think it ever bought something from Target?
At this point, probably send somebody else to
Why
compare the experience.
No, but think about it. Why would he ever shop at Target? Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, would he ever shop at Target?
No.
Why would he?
make money there.
He's giving money to another owner. Absolutely guaranteed no. Walmart sells everything Target does plus some. Why would he ever go there? It doesn't make any, and if you did, I would question it. You're an idiot. Why would you go give money to a corporation that you don't earn from? Right? Do you think the people that own Valero get gas from Shell? They'll pass Shells until they find a Valero. And they'll tell their employees, don't you dare buy from Shell. I have a buddy in the beer industry. He sells for Budweiser. He used to be a Coors Light drinker his entire life. His entire life. Man, we go like have a beer or something, I'm like, oh, I got Bud Light in the house, or Miller Light in the house, whatever. I didn't care what I drank. He was like, oh no, man, I'll go to the store and get Coors Light. I'm like, it's just have beer, man. He was like, oh, Coors Light, Coors Light. Now he works for Bud Light, guess what he drinks? Bud Light. Why? That's what makes him his money. Don't spend money on products that USANA sells. You're wasting money. It's drifting away. Your monthly auto order should be on products that you consume every month. And don't ever buy USANA-based products from anywhere else. It makes absolutely no logical sense. You should have shampoo, conditioner, shower gels in every one of your bathrooms in your home. It's another great way to prospect. When your family and friends come over, and they go take a shift, they stay for the week, and they take a shower in the bathroom, they're gonna love it. It's like, dude, what is this citrusy shower gel stuff? This stuff's amazing. If they got Purse Plus in there, what's gonna happen? They're not gonna think you're serious about your business, right? Read your goals. Welcome.
Summer associate, summer guest for the workout, but you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well you guys are gonna get just straight up motivation. Read your goals. Make an income goal. How many people have an income goal by this Friday? If you don't have an income goal, if you're building a business and you don't have a goal for Friday and what your income needs to be, what are the chances of you ever getting it? You know what Darren Hardy says? The amount of time you give yourself to accomplish the goal is exactly the amount of time you're gonna attain it. If you wake up tomorrow morning and say, man, by the end of the night before I go to bed, I have to do this. You know what he says? You'll get it done in most likely in the last 30 minutes of the day. He says, but if you wake up tomorrow morning and take that same XYZ thing that you have to do and say, I have to do this in the next 30 minutes or else, he says the likelihood of you doing it in the next 30 minutes is very high, and most likely it'll be in the last 5 minutes. But whatever the amount of time you give yourself to accomplish the goal is the amount of time you can actually accomplish it. So if you're not, we can pay it every Friday. You guys realize that, right? Every Friday you can have a chance to increase your income. And if you don't have a goal set for that, do you think you're ever going to attain it? It's impossible to attain something you're not having set a goal for. So set the goal, and then, most importantly, fill up the gaps of what it takes to accomplish that goal in between. You have to create a roadmap. You guys do this every day with your job. I'll give you an example. If you're making 50 grand a year, boss says, I'll pay you 50 grand a year if you do what? XYZ. And part of that looks like set my alarm, take a shower, eat some breakfast, drink a shake, get in my car, drive through rush hour traffic, complain and bitch and moan the entire way there, get to work, do my job, take off for an hour for lunch at this time, get off at work, go home, drive through rush hour traffic, go back home, put my job aside, hopefully, spend time with my family, eat dinner, go to bed, wake up to do the exact same thing all day the next day. That is your job description. Your job description does not start when you get to work. Your job description starts on how you get to work. So you have an XYZ on how to earn that income. If you're your own business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, nobody else is going to establish XYZ for you. But when you say, I want to earn this amount of money, you have to establish that this is going to what my job description is going to look like in order for me to obtain it. If you don't have it, I can pretty much guarantee you're never going to get it. Does that make sense? Logical thinking, right? Spend time in personal development. How many of you understand the importance of reading? The ripe old age of 23 years old, Matt Ryan was a self-made millionaire at the age of 28. My mentor came to me, I was talking to him, I was like, man, I don't know what the heck you're doing with life, but as long as it's legal, it's ethical, and it helps people, I'm interested. Because you have my life. You don't go to work, you have nice cars, beautiful house, jet skis, RVs, $50,000 Rolex on your wrist, which is not everything that's important in the world, but most importantly, you're spending Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all day Sunday at the church volunteering this time. It's like, dude, you have my life. How do I have that? And he goes, you gotta read. I was like, oh no. Oh no, actually his question was, what book are you currently reading? And I said, I don't like to read. I didn't buy books in college type deal. I just kind of went to class and I just learned my way through. He goes, I'll tell you right now, Brian, successful people read. Is that a logical thought? Successful people read. In order to improve your value, you have to improve your skill set. The only way to improve your skill set is to get educated on your skill. Okay? So spending that 10 to 15 minutes a day on personal development is critical. Plugging into the events, obviously that's more education, and then attending one major event, and if you're really serious, at least once a quarter. Okay? Now, for you guys in the room, this isn't going to make any sense, but for you associates, I'm going to talk you guys through this. So if you have a piece of paper out, I want you guys to, you're going to write this down. Now realize there are a lot of different game plans, there's a lot of different weekly action plans that are available out there. There's the Road to Achiever forms that are available on the eliminatetruth.com page under the member login deal under the resources. You can download these. Fantastic information. Daily activity, accountability, people to contact, etc., etc. It's your roadmap to whatever goal you set for your business. This is what I was taught. Looks really fancy, doesn't it? This was my roadmap. Every single week, this is my roadmap. Okay? But I'm going to break it down way easy. I'm going to take the middle part away first, and I want you to look at the four corners. Don't bypass the four corners. If you can't skip the four corners. One is, what is your paycheck starting this week? What's your income at? You should know at least by tomorrow. It's really normally Sunday for most people, because Sunday's when all your auto orders process, and you should know exactly what your income check is. You need to write that down, and you need to stare it down. It needs to hurt. And then you need to write your goal for Friday evening at 1 o'clock Central Time, when business closes for the week. What is your goal? And you need to write that number in there. Don't skip it. And be bold. If you want to be bold, go for it. One of the biggest problems we have in this world is we're taught that don't set goals too far in advance, because how will you feel if you don't achieve them? You won't get a ribbon. Listen, getting a ribbon in life doesn't pay mortgage payments. You guys understand what I'm talking about, right? Set a goal and set it to where it's extreme, so you push yourself. You gotta lose 30 pounds, put down 50. Because I guarantee you'll hit 30. Right? Okay. Next event, bottom left. What's the next thing that's the most important to plug into, or the next thing that you can invite a family member or a friend to? What's the next thing?
Wednesday night.
Huh?
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, write it down. Like really, write it down. Write it down, stare it down. Don't be like I used to be like, oh yeah, I'll write that down when I get home. No, do it right now. Okay? And then what's today's date?
Today or Wednesday?
The 30th. January 30th, put it down. You can take this form that you're about to write. What I did is I went home and I wrote a key, a template. And I got a little ruler, and I drew it all out really nice, and I made copies in my home. And I printed out like 50 stacks, 50 pieces of paper. So I had this, and every single Saturday or Sunday when auto orders processed, I pulled this puppy out, and I filled out my roadmap for the week. This is how I built my business. Now you got fancy forms that people in our teams now create that look way cooler than mine. But it's this little T-chart you see here is the T-chart. They just make it really look cool. I know Gina and Cindy have really great roadmaps that you guys can use. Whatever you use, the point is just use it. Then we're going to start next is your first business center. And you're going to write it down. And you go look at your volume. You can ask yourself, what's my left and right volume this week? Right now, starting off the week. You're going to look at your second and third business center if you have them. And you're going to ask yourself, where is my volume starting off the week? And what I did is on my hot contacts and follow-ups, I'm writing down the names of the people that I have to get a hold of this week. New contacts. And my follow-ups, people that I've contacted before that I'm just going to have that communication with again. Answer questions if they have them, feed them some more information if they want it, whatever the situation is. And I write the names in that list. And I'll tell you right now, I don't let Friday show up without accomplishing those names. Because if you skip 2, guess what's going to happen next week? You're going to skip 2 more. And guess what you're going to teach your team? How to skip 4. Before you know it, you're going to have people 3 generations in your business that ain't doing anything. Follow me? Okay? Questions on this? My challenge to you is to create a template. Use this one if you want. Use this one. I know you guys have phenomenal ones that they're probably training you on. This one's available for a free download. The most important thing I want to get across in your mind is you've got to prepare your brain for the goal that you set. And you have to have a